today's video, you join us at a very well known and yet rather tough day ticket venue to meet some guys from a bait company that might just have that little edge that we all need.
Yeah, it's a very different sort of bait company, not your average one. So we're meeting the guys from Biosource. And the lake in question is the famous Horseshoe Lake. It's a massive lake, 60 acres in size. We can't really wait to get going, can we?
No, this is going to be an exciting.
Okay, let's try and catch you up a little bit because time has got on a lot, I'd say.
Yes, so we arrived at what, 11 o'clock this morning?
Earlier than that.
A bit earlier than that.
Yeah.
Since then, we've said our hellos to the guys from the Biosource team, and we have then been running around like idiots trying to find fish and, yeah, fishable areas basically.
Yeah, it turns out Horseshoe is actually quite a big lake to find fish on because it's about 60 acres, so it's definitely not a small one. But we think we found fish, we're in a swim, we're settled, we've got the rods out, we've got a bit of bait out. That is you caught up. But to break that down a little bit, we are in swim 9, which is a double swim, and we've literally got 2 rods out each because I think you can either fish 3 rods in a double swim if you're on your own, or you can fish 2 each if you're doubled up. So that's what we've done. And it did take a little bit of work, didn't it?
Yes, on the whole, the swim is, let's just say, weedy. There are
weedy.
several sections within the lake on the whole where the weed is literally sort of bottom to top. And yeah, it's been a struggle finding some spots. So it took a good couple of hours, didn't it? But I think now we have both found some presentable areas. And yeah, we've seen signs of fish. So
yeah. So we got the rods both out on our spots, and we've literally got 1 spot each. Funnily enough, both at 20 wraps, isn't it?
it's extremely handy when you are putting bait out with a spod rod.
Yeah, when you're sharing a spod rod. So yeah, both at 20 wraps. Very different places, even though we're from the same swim. It's like a little point swim, which gives, I mean, we've probably got 25 acres in front of us, like surrounding in our peripherals. So you're kind of straight out, and I'm very much out to the right. So I am probably about 200 yards from your spot.
Yes, and that was a fish on your spot.
That is a very good sign.
That is a good sign.
After we found the spots, obviously rig straight out there. I'm using really simple tactics, a little helicopter setup, as I normally do, with a little blowback rig and a little dumbbell wafter. And you're doing something different.
Yes, I am using a slightly different product from the guys over at Biosource. It's more of a sort of a gel type feeding stimulant, and that pairs extremely nicely with a solid bag tactic. So small pellets, well, a mixture of small pellets and medium-sized pellets, and then again a dumbbell hook bait. But I actually prefer something with no buoyancy in it. I like a bottom bait, so that's what I've gone for. Yeah,
so I've been using some of the pellet as well, and we've been advised that the best way to use this is little and often. So about 7 spoms every hour, try and build up that swim, and then it starts releasing that stimulant, and it works a lot better doing it that way, and building a swim almost match sort of style tactics than it does if you just put the whole bucket in at the start of the session and hope for the best. So that's kind of the plan we're going for, isn't it? Where we're just constantly trickling it into that swim.
Yeah, and I did mention earlier that you're taking the night shift. And putting the bait out through the night.
I think it's only, as I drove up here, I think it's only fair that Ian, you do the night shift. So let us know in the comments who should do the night shift. It will be too late by the time you see this, but for next time.
Yes, for next time.
We'll see if the driver or the passenger has to work the night shift. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the night brings. Like I say, we are into early evening already, so it's pretty much time to get some food on the go, isn't it? And,
that's it. Yeah, I'm really excited actually. I'm really excited. Obviously to see what the product brings, but also to get the information out of the guys from the Biosource team, because this is the first time we've really seen the product. Obviously they know all the ins and outs, and the science behind it is baffling to probably most of us. So we've got a couple of people that we will be speaking to. Firstly is the doctor behind it all. So that's going to be all the knowledge, but then we've also got a team member that's been using it for a while as well. But one of the other team members is here as well, and he has caught a fish already, hasn't he? He has already caught a fish. So that is promising. That is very promising. Lovely, what, £18 for the scale? Yeah, it was a really cool fish though. Like, I mean, I think it's probably a very good reflection of what's in the Horseshoe Lake. Massively. So yeah, really excited. Hopefully we can nick one. Be nice, I'll be extremely happy to get a fish out in the morning and get some nice sunrise shots with one of those. That'll do.
That would do.
Right.
But first, let's get some dinner on the
Yeah,
go.
I was going to say, let's do that.
And then we can get a little bit more bait out as well.
Cool. Do it.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Jason. I'm a consultant for Biosource Baits. We're here at Horseshoe at the moment with CARPology, and I'm just going to run you through how I approach my session with the dosage and what I can and can't use with the amino liquid from Biosource. So generally on my session, for this session and my other sessions, I go with 30 mils of the liquids. I'm using the sweet cream one at the moment, 30 mils per kilo. Easy application, basically just remove the lid, squeeze the bottle. I prepare mine the night before, 10 mils in a little bottle there, squeeze that up to 30 mils, put it in, 30 mils per kilo, and I'm ready to go. I let that soak overnight, and then it's nice and glazed, give it a good couple of shakes, and then it's ready to go for the next day when I'm ready to go. Obviously, with the liquid, you can't use it with any hydros. So I use mine, I do add it with other oils. I use a sea stim oil or a smart liquid or something like that that hasn't got any hydros in it. The gels, I generally coat my boilie with the gel or a zig. I had a 44 the other day, coating my zig, sorry, with the gel. Give it a good coating on the bit of foam, give it a good squeeze, get the product in there, and that was ready to go. Something I've not used is the paste. Now, I know a lot of barbel anglers are using the paste quite a lot, but it's not something I've used in my armoury with the carp fishing at all. Maybe it's something I need to get onto. Maybe this trip I should have used it and I might have caught one. But generally, it's an easy application. I say the bottles have got a 10 ml refill, fill it up 3 times 30 mils, and then it's per kilo, and it's ready to go. If you want to use a product, the website is biosourcebaits.com. Get on there and get your order in. See how you can get on with it. Let us know.
Well, just before it does get too dark, we thought we'd give you a bit of an evening update because a lot has changed, hasn't it?
Yes, I would say so. We've basically spent the afternoon with the Biosource guys, and well, let's just say we've learnt a thing or two.
Yeah, so the supplements that we're using are feeding stimulants, not attractants. So that changes how we've approached the session already.
Yes.
So where it's a stimulant, the idea is if there's fish in the area, it basically switches something in their brain to make them say, yeah, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. If there's not fish in the area, it's not going to do a lot. So it still requires a lot of watercraft, obviously finding fish in the first place, but it also requires you to pretty much fish the way that you would naturally fish. So by putting bait out. Now, obviously we've been putting the pellets out, but the pellets are designed to break down very quickly, and then that stimulant kind of disperses into the water. But that's not much good, like I say, if there's not fish there and you're not drawing them in. So I've been baiting up as I normally would on any other session. So I probably put 10 to 15 spoms out of 𝗲𝗏𝗶𝗿, and then we have been topping up throughout the day. Oh, that's a beep. We've been topping up throughout the day with the pellets, which have got the stimulant actually built into them.
Yeah.
Your idea has changed quite a bit, hasn't it? Quite drastically.
When we initially got into the swim and sort of picked how I was going to sort of go at it, I went for a solid bag approach. I thought, you know, obviously adding the Biosource gel to the solid bag, it would elevate that bag like massively, and fish would be sort of homing in on it. But
which it will elevate the bag massively,
but not for the reasons I thought.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So change of approach was in order, because a solid bag on its own in 60 acres of water, probably not going to achieve me a great deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've basically reverted back to my normal fishing tactics, if you like. So bottom baits with boilies spotted over the top, and then spotted the dosed pellet over the top of that. So I've got my bait to attract fish into the area, and then the Biosource liquid treated pellet will hopefully get them to feed, and then hopefully I'll catch a fish.
Yeah, it's quite an exciting prospect.
Yes.
And it's quite nice to see something new.
It is, yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's very different to what we're used to, which is like, it's a learning curve for us as well as you guys watching this. But obviously we will find out a lot more from the doctor tomorrow, and that's the whole idea of him being here. He's actually flown over from Chicago, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
again,
that's yeah.
And we moaned about the 3-hour drive.
Oh, it was a long drive this morning. But yeah, it will be interesting talking to him and obviously getting across how it works and how he's come up with the idea and how he's...
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from this, and we're just kind of at the tip of the iceberg at the moment.
Yeah, we're kind of just along for the ride with the guys at home, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, exciting stuff. We'll catch up with you guys in the morning.
Yeah, see you in the morning.
So we thought it was about time we gave you a morning update, so to speak. And well, unfortunately, we haven't got much of an update for them.
There's a lot to update, but not in terms of fish.
Yes, yes. So basically, the fish didn't turn up as we thought they would. There have been an awful lot of fish in another section of the lake. I guess that is one of the pitfalls of fishing such a large lake with such limited time. It makes it tough. It's a challenge.
It is. So first thing, well, not first thing, about 8 o'clock, we decided it was best to reel in and go for a wander to see if we can see any fish anywhere else for the last few hours of the session. Because, as we said yesterday, the Biosource stuff is designed to make fish feed, but fish can't feed if they're not in the area. So we've got to try and make it happen ourselves. And obviously this is a big old lake, and if the fish aren't here, they're just not here.
Oh, was that one there?
Yeah, it might have been, yeah.
Yeah, that's a long way.
It's got to be 200 yards, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, so what? That's like 5 shows we've seen out there now, but that's just too far.
Too far from any swim, isn't it?
What we had seen was just in no man's land, so there wasn't a particular swim that we could have necessarily targeted them from.
No.
They were an extremely long way out, and
yeah, I mean, we could have got a bit closer to them. They were still probably about 200 yards from whatever bank, weren't they? So we decided that based on what we learnt yesterday about bite times and things like that, we were probably better staying put, because we did bring in, or when we did bring in the rods, they did come in pretty clean, which is a lot to be said for a very, very weedy lake. Yeah. So there was all sorts of kind of dilemmas that we were thinking, do we move and get a bit closer to the fish, but then we don't know that it would be presenting clearly, so then are we casting into the void, into the unknown, and just setting ourselves up for a fail when we know there are clean areas that we can present here. But also, when we turned up yesterday about 10, half 10, they had their fish over on Winter Point that we filmed. Another guy behind us had a fish around that same time. There was a lot of activity happening. Yeah. So we decided we were better off staying put, getting the rods back out clean, a bit more of a pellet out again to get this stimulant into the water. So if the fish do end up moving around, moving across this area, there's every chance that it can provoke that bite.
Yeah, it is quite a significant bite time now.
Yeah, it seems
so. I think the more rod hours we can actually get, the better.
Yeah.
So.
And shortly before we were filming this, the guy that had one yesterday afternoon, yesterday lunchtime, has also just had another one, which is coming into that sort of time period. Yeah. So the rods are back out. And I think we got a chance. We've got a few hours left.
Yeah, I'm not defeated just yet.
No.
I still feel like there's plenty of opportunities to hopefully grab a fish before we go home. Yeah.
Shall we hand over to the man who knows all?
Yes, let's.
So you guys can find the ins and outs, the science behind this Biosource product that we keep talking about.
Hi, I'm Patrick Mills. I'm a chemistry professor and carp angler. I've been passionate about fish feeding stimulants for more than 20 years, and the culmination of this work is Impulse, which is our new fish feeding stimulant that just recently came out in the UK. A little bit about it. Well, to go back in time, I first started studying amino acids in 1984 after reading Carp Fever. And I was inspired by 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗿, and he was absolutely right in terms of how he interpreted the behavior of fish towards amino acids. But as it turned out, it's a much harder topic than was first revealed. And after 20 years of research, we've come up with a fish feeding stimulant that actually works consistently. The product itself, yes, it's based on amino acids, but the problem with aminos is there's a very narrow window where they're effective in terms of their concentration. You can think about this really in terms of drinking coffee yourself. So maybe after 1 cup of coffee, you're not quite ready for the day. Maybe 3, you're just right. And then maybe 5 or 6, you just want to go lie down. That's how it is with single amino acids in the water. Fish are attracted to amino acids, and as the concentration increases, they become optimally stimulated to feed. And that's what Kevin saw back in the 80s in his fish studies. We've essentially emulated his research and fine-tuned the dosage, but more importantly, we've been able to add a specifically kind of patented blocking molecule, which allows us to dose the exact right amount every time, regardless of how much you really add to your bait. Obviously, don't overdo it too much. If you follow the prescribed dosing amount, you will induce an enhanced feeding response from fish when they're in your baited area. It's not a long-range attractant, it's a short-range fish feeding stimulant. We did 2 studies with 𝗃𝗁, and they conclusively showed with 2 independent studies, it caught more than 2 to 1. There was one study where we did a true, if you like, match style test, pole fishing with, without, and on average it was 2 to 1 in favor of the impulse dose baits. And then more interest to big carp anglers, we did it again several years later and fished specially prepared impulse dose boilies, people fishing 2 rods, one with, one without, one with, one without. So a similar kind of philosophy to the match. And again, 2.1 to 1 this time. So the 𝗃𝗁 studies prove scientifically that it will, under ideal conditions, catch up to 2.1 times more than undosed baits. And, you know, this is what we kind of say to our anglers, you know, it will catch you more fish. That's the basic idea.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel pretty defeated.
Yeah, it's just, it's been pretty tough, hasn't it? Let's be honest.
Has been. To think we've only been here 24 hours, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Like, I feel like we've worked for it and it just hasn't happened.
It just hasn't happened. What can we do? The fish have recently spawned and, well, I don't think they're really up for eating.
They just haven't been on it, have they?
Yeah, realistically, no matter what feed stimulant or attractor package or that you put in a lake,
it's not going to change sexy time.
No.
Which seems quite a fitting way to end this video. Of course, you can find out a lot more information through the Biosource website if you want to find out the ins and outs and prices and things like that and exactly what they have to offer. But talking of prices,
there is a discount code available. So basically for any of you that have actually hung around to the end of the video, there's a code of CARPology 10 which you can use on the Biosource website to get yourself a bit of a bargain.
Yeah. So if it's one of them things you're kind of on the fence about, it's definitely worth trying. And I'm really looking forward to going to more of a bites water to really put it to its test. So hopefully we'll be creating another video where we do that. And like we were saying, or the doctor was saying earlier, actually fish them side by side. So 1 rod over the pellet with the enhancement, 1 rod just off it, and just see if it does make that difference, because I'm still very intrigued about it.
Yeah, the science is definitely there. I want to see the results for myself.
Yeah, which a 60-acre lake full of weed maybe wasn't the best place to try this. No. But on a worse, more horrible note, my keys are in my bivvy, which is amongst all of this, so we can't even get away yet. We'll see you in the next one.
See you later.